I was a professional chess player for almost 20 years. I decided to take a break last year, and now I'm thinking about returning to competitive play. Here, we'll take a look at my best game ever from when I was a professional player. Let's not go down a rabbit hole of looking at my 8-year-old games, even though they might be better than the games I played today. But 16-year-old Nemo was on her way to, I don't even know, I think I had gotten my Women Grandmaster norms, but I hadn't gotten the title yet, and I was playing these tournaments for rating. I don't exactly remember, but anyways, I played the Stockholm Chess Challenge back in 2016. This was a norm tournament. This was a really exciting game, to be honest, and it's one of my favorite games ever because I think it displayed it. This game translated really well to how I play chess now, which is absolutely hilarious. Anyways, that's kind of like the context for this and why I chose this game. I also lost to this guy's wife earlier in the tournament, and I was really unhappy about that. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna lose to both of the Kantan and Katana because they do the name thing. So anyways, yeah, that's the context for this game. I was pissed. I already really lost to his wife, and I was like, I would love to win a game. And I was not doing very well in this tournament, but I think it's okay because I beat. He was an international master. He was going for his grandmaster rating. He just needed 10 points, I believe, and well, he did not get it after this game. But yeah, we started out with in Sicilian, and I wasn't very familiar.
Interrupt you and just ask one question?
Yeah,
because I see a level 9, so I'm assuming it's the final round of that tournament.
Yeah.
Were you going for a norm or anything on the line during this game?
I was not.
Okay.
I did not have. I had a really good start to my tournament, and then my middle was really bad, and then I was like, well, I don't know how I feel about this. But yeah, no, I wasn't going for anything in this tournament. I was just playing for fun, I guess. So yeah, I was just chilling. But anyways, we go into the Paulsen or Taimanov, whatever you want to call the E6 lines of the Sicilian. These are the openings that I've traditionally been very, very uncomfortable with, and I think that I just never really liked these kind of structures. I always prefer it if my opponent plays d6. So I was already not very happy about this opening. But here I played a3 because bishop to b4 is actually my least favorite line. One of my least favorite lines in this entire opening is this bishop b4 line. And then they go knight f6 later, and I just never really know how to deal with it. So I guess here I queen d4, but so knight first. But anyways, I really dislike the bishop b4, knight f6 structures. But I was really happy that he didn't go for it, so I got to get a3 off, which was awesome, because now he no longer has bishop b4. I'm very happy in a Sicilian. I know that white's supposed to go for the advantage, and he's supposed to go for the attack and all of that stuff, but I'm actually usually really happy playing it solid if it's an unfamiliar line.
Really? So
yeah.
From the experience that I have against you, because I played a dragon, you go all out, you castle queenside, and you just...
Yeah, but that's because it's the dragon. Like, the dragon I actually know.
Okay.
I think it's very different when someone plays e6 structures, because e6 structures are, you know, they're a lot more flexible. You can convert to a Sveshnikov sometimes, you convert to Scheveningens, you convert to Rouser. Oh no, you can't convert to Rouser, but you convert to like all these different structures. And I've just never been a fan of any of those conversions in e6 lines. I very much prefer the d6 structure. It's clear cut, it's simple. I attack on the king side and you attack me on the queen side. And to me, that makes a lot of sense, you know? For these e6 structures, it's a lot of maneuvering. I'm castling short, you're castling short. I have to push up f4, f5. I have to go bishop f3. There's so many different ideas in these kind of lines, and I'm not a huge fan of that. But I think my opponent actually made a pretty big mistake out of the opening, so I play king h1. Like I was saying, I'm gonna set up for f4, f5 potentially, or just f4, bishop f3. A lot of ideas. You just always want to hide your king because you don't want to deal with bishop c5 pins. So after knight a5, I play f3 to actually stabilize my center. My position is already getting a little bit passive here, and this is basically what I was telling you about. Like, I am willing to trade activity for just stability out of the Sicilian, which you're not supposed to do if you're actually a good chess player. But yeah. Okay. Here,
Okay.
he plays d5 though, which is very ambitious. And it looks correct. This is one of those kind of moves that if you're black and you're playing the Sicilian, you know you want to break on d5, right? At some point. You do it in the Sicilian Dragon. You do it in... You always try to do it in the Rouser, but you never get it. You always try to do it in the Najdorf. You never get it. Or White's not supposed to let you get it. But he did d5 a move early because his king is not ready to be castled yet, so he needs to play bishop e7, and then after whatever I play, castling here, and then he can maybe go for d5. And then, you know, he gets a strong center, he's gonna get the open file. It's an equal position, but black is not worse, and your goal as black out of the opening is always to not be worse. So d5 was actually played early here, and I really enjoyed my move, knight d takes b5. It's ambitious, but I also knew that if I let black have the center, I'm playing against somebody who is stronger than me. He's just going to positionally grind me down, and I'm going to hate that.
Was this prepped?
This was not prepped at all, no. I was out of prep by like move 6 or something. Yeah. So, one of the things about classical games, one of the beauties about classical games is that, or about chess in general, is that you don't need to always make the objective best move. Because I think the engine here probably likes e takes d5 the most. But then, you know, I don't want to play this position because he's just going to get a very nice knight. Oh, sorry, I don't know why I took with the pawn. But he can get a very nice knight on d5. Yeah. And then he can just put his bishop out. He's going to castle. He has the center. He has the c-file. I just don't want to deal with any of this stuff. So I was like, I'm going to go for something a lot more aggressive. And I'm going to play knight d takes b5 because this is one of those moves where if you don't go for it, you're going to look back at the game later and be like, oh man, what if I sacrificed my knight? And I just didn't want to have one of those moments. It was the last game of this tournament. I already lost to his wife. I didn't care anymore. I was just going for it. I always tell my chat that like, hey, you know what's the best? One of the most comfortable ways to play chess is when you know you're worse than someone and you have nothing to play for, because then you just feel so confident. You're just going for things, which is what I did here. So I play knight d takes b5. Yeah.
I completely agree with you. I think, especially as a chess coach, I see a lot of people studying chess and relying a lot on the engine. And then they sort of lose their intuition in the long run, right? Like sacking like this, they're only going to check with the engine. They're not going to be practical about it. You know, I see this position as black in the classical game.
Yeah.
Even if I know objectively it's not the best, well, you still got to defend yourself as black, right?
Right.
So find the best moves. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea behind knight d takes b5 is you get 2 pawns for your knight, and you also get a lot of counterplay because you have 2 passed pawns with the potential of making a 3rd one if they ever lose their d pawn, and you also get an outpost on d4, and you have a lot more piece activity than he does, and his king's not even castled yet. So you get plenty of compensation, and you can kind of see how the engine thinks that this position is roughly equal at about 20. It's on 20 now. If I give it 25, it's probably like right around equal. I'm trading material for counterplay, so you know, however you want to do it. Black here plays queen d8, which makes a lot of sense. He has to move his queen. Nopo chess gambits from a 2490 international IM. After bishop to f4, rook to c8, I get to play knight to a7. So I'm just obviously trying to, you know, put pressure on him. I'm trying to stop him from castling. I know that because I have sacrificed the knight, I have to go for the initiative, because if you don't go for the initiative, you're just going to be down a whole piece. So I'm just going for knight a7.
I have a question here. If they played rook a8, would you have repeated?
Probably. I don't think I really cared in this game.
Well, you're also using the fact, and this is psychological, when you play a higher rated player, you know that they can't afford repeating.
Absolutely. I love that.
Whatever, right?
I love that about it. Yes, this is one of the other things. You know that you don't even have to worry about the repetition because they cannot go for repetition. So that's another great thing about this. So obviously he goes bishop e7, because like Lefong said, if you're higher rated than someone by like 290 points and you're going for your grandmaster title, you're probably not taking a draw on move 15 for the last round of a tournament. Right. Like you're not doing any of that. So I was pretty confident in the fact that he's going to make his position a little bit worse because he can't take the draw and stuff like that. And you know, I don't exactly have anything to go for here. Nothing concrete. I mean, I don't have any like strict tactics, but it could have been really interesting here for me to play pawn to b4 and just start getting the pawns rolling. So he has to go, well, he can go knight c6. He can also go knight c4, but knight c4, obviously I take his rook, and knight to c6. I can also take his rook. So, you know, the reason that I played bishop b5 first was actually, I mean, I don't remember this specifically, but I was like, let me sneak in this check. I don't think it makes that much of a difference, but knight to c8, queen to c8, and b4 might have been better, and just go for the pawn push. And by the time that I get this exchange, I'm already almost back to equal, well, I am back to equal material because it's an exchange for 2 pawns.
No, so, you actually have a rook and 2 pawns for 2 pieces.
Right, a rook and 2 pawns for 2 pieces, so it's not bad anymore. But I'm not, I didn't love my bishop b5 move. I think I should have just gone for the b4 pawn push and gone for, like, you know, I have extra pawns. They're pass pawns. What do you do with pass pawns? You push them. And I didn't do that. But I was feeling a little conservative because I was going to go for knight c8, queen takes c8, e takes d5, knight takes d5. And then I wanted not just 2 pass pawns, but I had 3 pass pawns on the queen side, which is kind of cool. You know, I'm still up.
Absolutely. Like
0.5 if you want to do the fancy math thing. I got rook, 2 pawns for 2 knights, which is pretty decent. However, he gets quite a lot of play because of what I did. My idea of playing, you know, of creating this weakness on d5 was foil. He took with the knight instead of the pawn, so he no longer has this weak pawn on d5. And instead, he can go for bishop f6 and go for my b2 pawn. So this is one of those situations where I really wish that I had played b4 actually and just gone for the pawn push and didn't have to deal with all of that. Because what ended up happening in the game is I could not really push my pawns anymore because his bishop is now pinning my b2 pawn. And I think one of the better moves here was probably actually just c3, because once you play c4, your pawns are, my c pawn is probably not going anywhere. My best bet is push b4, a4, a5, right? Like, you always want to push the side pawns. Even if it's a middle game, you probably still want to push the side pawns. It's just so easy to stop the center pass pawn. And I played c4 because I didn't think enough about all of this during the game. I thought that, hey, if I just get my pawns up, maybe I can put my rook on b1, and maybe I can push b4. Maybe I can put the other rook here. I can maybe play rook a2 and then b4. You know, I thought it was fine. So I played rook b1 here. And then after he castled, I went for b4. Like I said I would do. Imagine stating your plan and then actually going for it. He goes knight d4, so I'm having a lot of difficulty protecting my c4 pawn now. You can kind of see, like I said earlier, you probably want to be pushing up the pawns on the side of the board when you have pass pawns versus pushing up the pawns that are in the middle of the board. And that applies, once again, to like your normal endgames. It doesn't have to be this kind of middle game situation. Just in general, it's probably easier to push up a side pawn. So I played a4 here. If he takes, I'm going to take with the c pawn to not lose it. And then I have this, you know, I still have 2 pass pawns, which is awesome. I'll always do that. So he goes e5. He's going for the e4 pawn push, which is going to start destroying my kingside structure. And he has a very, very, very strong bishop, which I don't like. So I'm going queen e1 in order to stop the pawn to e4. And this move is probably a tad passive. I think I should have just gone for c5 here. And if e4 happens, I just let it happen. And one of the ideas here I had was actually rook takes f6. And then I can play rook c1. And now we're back to being down a full piece for 2 pawns. But I have really good pawns. We're going into an endgame. And, you know, there's a lot of ideas here. You just have to get attackers off the board somehow. And I don't think this is very safe. I recognize
It's
my
so
mistakes.
scary.
Yeah, I've already stated my mistake was letting him get so much activity. I don't like what I did with the e takes d5, all of that opening up the center. I should have just pushed b4 and a4 and just gone for it. So I don't like what I did. I was not expecting him to have this much play. He has pair bishops, but so do I. So I was like, I wasn't really expecting my king to be under this much attack. But here I'm just desperately trying to stop him from being able to push e4.
Honestly, like if I'm not looking at a computer, I'm looking at this position, and I'm debating between queen e1 and c5. To me, queen e1 feels much more human. It's so scary to allow bishop on e4, you know?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I 100% agree, which is why I played queen e1 during the game. Nobody here is playing like an engine, right? So yeah, I'm just trying to stop him from playing pawn to e4, and he has a one-track mind, and he's probably going to just go rook e8 and try to push e4. So here he actually trades off my light squared bishop, which, you know, now my position is getting a little bit risky because I was saying how my paired bishops counter his paired bishops, and without my light square bishops, that means my light squares are really weak, and there's basically nothing now stopping him from just being able to push up e4. But yeah, I have to go queen c1 to protect my bishop. Everything is a little bit risky here. I had queen takes e5. I know someone's going to bring this up, that this could be a free pawn. He has bishop f6 here, and after queen c5, if he goes queen takes c5, b takes c5, bishop takes, I'm actually doing just fine in this position because I've got b6, and after bishop takes, I have rook to c1. Okay, so
I moved 26. You guys are both in time trouble.
Yeah, by move 26, we were both in time trouble. A lot of time was spent on this game. I wish the game had the clocks, the timestamps, but I don't think it does. I'm going to check it once more. Oh, it does.
Because right now, it does?
Yeah,
really?
It has timestamps. So, you can't see it because I can't pull it on, but for everybody in chat, yeah, you can see how on move 26, I have 5 minutes and my opponent at 35. So he plays e4. I'm going f takes e4, bishop takes e4. And so this game thus far has been really tough for me because he is putting a lot of pressure on my king. So I'm finding all these creative ways with 5 minutes left on the clock to actually counter all of it. So here I play rook b2 because obviously my g2 pawn is kind of weak. And now my opponent plays rook to e8, which I actually think was a little bit slow. I'm not entirely sure what he could have done here. Maybe he had some...
Bring some pieces.
Yeah, like
in.
queen
I
here,
don't
queen
know about
e6.
queen
I
e6.
don't really know.
Yeah, queen g6.
Yeah, there's just a lot of ideas here. Like you just want to be putting a lot of pressure on your opponent when they're low on time and also have a really weak king. Two things which I had, but I mean, he moved his rook out, which is not the worst because you always want to bring your pieces into the attack when you are attacking, which is good. Yeah. But I don't think rook to e8 was necessarily the best execution. The engineer really likes h6, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But I think it's just so he can hide his king. Or maybe
I believe, yeah, bishop g5 with knight h3 or something, right?
Yeah, bishop g5 with knight g3 threatening queen h3 is a fascinating idea. So if you play rook a2, there's bishop to g5, and queen e1. Well, I have to go queen e1, but let's just say I don't care about this. He's got knight g3, queen h3, bishop e3.
This is such a cute mate.
Yeah, this is such a cute mate, and because the rook is pinned, he's got checkmate on g2. So yeah, this position was super tactical. Thankfully, my opponent was not a grandmaster and was only an international master. Just for this one tournament, he got his grandmaster title the next tournament. I actually blocked him from getting his grandmaster title, and I felt really happy about myself. But yeah, h6 is a really interesting idea, going for bishop g5, but I don't think he saw it. So he went for rook e8, which is very logical, and I went for this pawn push because I'm like, I'm going to go a6, b6 and try to promote. And I'm not sure if I feel like looking back on this game now, where everything is attacking my king, I realized that a5 might have been a little bit, you know, you have passed pawns, you're supposed to push them. My opponent obviously goes for bishop d3. He's going to take on c5 next move. So I go rook d1, it's bishop b5, and then
And we're back to the present.
And now we're back to the present, yes. And being back to the present also means that I have 1 minute, 40 seconds left on my clock, and my opponent has 31 minutes left on move 31. So
wait a sec. He just captured one of your most important pawn.
Yeah,
and
he did.
He has 2 pieces for your rook. What happened here? I'm really curious because I haven't seen the game, by the way.
See, you're about to find out what happened here. What ended up happening is queen e6. And then after queen c5, I'm going for bishop to c3 because I'm just trying to set something up. So he made a mistake here, right? He's completely winning in this position, obviously. I'm barely hanging on. He's got these queen e1 ideas. He's got this bishop g3 idea where he just goes for queen h6 and gets to take on h2.
Can you show Chad what happens on hg3?
hg3.
Like,
yeah.
Sorry, bishop g3. Yeah.
Okay, so queen takes. Okay, this is back to the other line that I was showing you guys with bishop g5, but this line is fun too. Knight takes g3, and then I'm getting checkmated by queen h1 and queen to g2, and there's basically
and king f2 runs into 94, right?
Yeah, and this is a free queen bonus gambit, so.
It's hard to see. Honestly, bishop g3 is not, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a move that captures something. It's not a check. You know, when you solve puzzles, you often look for checks, captures, threats. Bishop g3 is just like a powerful move. And it's so easy to miss in the time scramble like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he wasn't in a time scramble, so I don't know why he didn't see it. He had 30 minutes.
Never mind then. Okay.
Yeah, he had 26. He had 26 minutes. Yeah, he had 26 minutes. I don't know why he didn't see it, but I was really happy he didn't see it because bishop g3 is really strong. Even ideas like knight to g3 are really strong because after h takes, okay, you can't go queen h3 yet, but after bishop takes g3, you're still threatening queen h3, queen h2, and then queen takes g2. So really just throwing any piece at your opponent's king when your opponent's king has 2 pawns in front of it and you've got like, all of your pieces attacking the king is quite strong. So this is actually a really good example of what you should do when you have the attack and when you have an advantage because, it's a lot better to go for a win. So anyways, he plays 93, which is like kind of nonchalant. It's kind of chill. You're just going for the g2 pawn. It looks very simple. It looks very easy. You're attacking my rook. You're attacking the pawn. You got queen g6 next move. How am I going to defend against all this? But I actually find rook to d6 here. And rook d6 is obviously a really good move because not only am I hitting the bishop and threatening to win it, I'm also hitting his queen. So his only move here is actually queen c4. I got really lucky that he didn't find the executing moves here, plural, with the bishop g3 or knight g3 ideas.
Yeah.
And instead he played knight e3, which gave me the chance to play rook d6. And his actual only way of saving this position is playing queen c4. Obviously, I can't take the rook because of checkmate in 1. So I have to take the queen. And after knight takes, I got rook takes. And after knight takes, you still can't take this knight because of checkmate, but you can just go g3. And then this attacks both the bishop and the knight. But he played rook d8 here. The idea is if I play rook takes e6, obviously, I get checkmated once again.
Yeah.
But I play queen d4 here. And I'm threatening the rook and checkmate.
That's so brutal.
Yeah, while my rook is hanging.
At this point, it's so normal to not consider queen moves here. I mean, rook takes d8 check is probably the move that he considers first.
Yeah.
Then maybe queen takes c6 because the bishop is hanging. But queen d4, that's... Especially in a classical game when you have over 20 minutes on your clock, it's brutal to miss this.
Yes. I forked basically 3 pieces at the same time, I guess. I don't even know what you count this as at this point. It's not like... Yeah, I guess it's a fork because checkmate counts as a fork.
Triple fork?
Yeah, it's like a triple fork, but...
a double attack or a triple attack, I would say.
Yeah, it's like a triple attack. I think it's triple attack more than a fork. It's not really a fork. So I made a trident with my queen. This way, I guess, because my camera, I don't even know how this works. A cluster fork sounds amazing. I love that. A sun ray. Yeah, we did the sun ray. Yes, a full set of silverware.
The chat is having fun, right?
Yeah, chat's coming up with terms for this. But I think this was by far not only the best game I have played, not because I was like playing particularly well, but because I was finding all of these really, really small tactical ideas at the very end in order to keep my position together. It's a family fork, yeah, basically. And you know, every single piece of his is being attacked. Every single one of them. His queen's being attacked, his rook's being attacked, his bishop's being attacked, his knight's being attacked, his other bishop's being attacked, and also I'm threatening checkmate. So his king is also being attacked. So this was by far the wildest tactic that I've ever found in my life. Knight d5 doesn't defend anything here. I'm threatening checkmate. If he tries to defend his g7 pawn, I can take on d8. If he tries to move his queen to defend, I can still take his rook. If he tries to go for knight f5, you know, in case of like queen e1 or something, like their bishop is defending everything, I somehow just found like the perfect move. I just am attacking every single piece in this position. And he had to play bishop to f6 here to defend against checkmate, and then he actually very quickly resigned because I played rook takes d8, capturing the free rook. He can't take because once again, checkmate. So he has to go bishop to e8, and then after this I got rook to d6, and then despite losing my queen, I get to take on e6, and if he takes my bishop, I can take his bishop with checkmate. So when he played f takes e6, I had bishop takes d4, and then I had rook to a2, and then he just resigned because my pawns are finally pushing up the board after I said this was going to be my plan. And I also hit 30 minutes because I'll move 40. So he just resigned. But yeah.
What a game.
Yeah, I was really proud of this game.
That was a... Yeah, that was a beautiful game. It was definitely not perfect. It was a roller coaster game. But it feels good to beat a higher rated opponent. And props to you for a complicated position right from the beginning, right? This is where maybe you have the best chances. I know you're an attacking player. So yeah, that's really, really cool.
Yeah, I think this game describes my chess gameplay quite well these days. It's not perfect. Very ambitious. that tends to be how I play chess these days because I find it a lot more fun. And obviously, I saw all of this when I played knight takes b5 on move 12. Obviously. I predicted all of this to happen. I mean, okay, honestly, I'm not even joking, but you know when you play a move like knight takes b5, you know the game is going to be crazy and tactical. Like, you just know. Yeah. You're not playing knight d takes b5 on move 12, giving up a knight for 2 pawns in the Sicilian to have... To grind out a rook pawn versus rook pawn endgame. You're not doing that. You're going to get into a crazy middle game. You know that you are basically having a coin flip. You're basically gambling here, and you just have to hope that, you know, either your chess is better than your opponent's or your opponent's gonna make some mistakes somewhere. And my opponent did make some mistakes. He definitely did not play the optimal move when he played knight e3. Pointed out that anything going to g3 is the best. And I found rook d6. I also had to find a lot of defensive moves, which was quite a struggle with a minute left on the clock. But so
you know what I'm thinking?
Yeah.
Like if you go back one move, if he had played bishop g3 instead of knight e3,
yeah,
right? Maybe he would have included this game in his best games he've ever played.
It's true. If he had played bishop g3 here, this game might have ended up on his Wikipedia page as one of the best games he's played. Right. But instead, this ended up on my Wikipedia page as one of the best games I've ever played. So you never know. It's just one move can make or break something. It's really true.
Absolutely.
But yeah, this game was super fun. I really enjoyed playing this game, and also, you know, I hope all of you guys enjoyed watching this game. I know it wasn't the best in terms of, like, it's not like Hikaru levels of perfection or something, but it was a game.